All right, and we're on. Good morning, fire breathers. Happy Tuesday. We're gonna stick with what I've been doing with doing the home workout first and then attacking the gym and just having it be all one video. So, home. 2019-05-07 body weight. You have a task list, just one time through for time. You're starting with lateral lunges. One side is 1, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, I'm just moving for space purposes. You're gonna start full extension, feet together, lunge out to the side, try to get that hip at least in line with your knee. You don't necessarily have to get like all the way down here. That makes it more of a squat, but get that hip as low as you can, sink into that heel, come back up to standing. That's 1. You'll switch sides, 2, and so on and so forth. Breathe with it. Don't hold your breath. High-low planks. So your count for this, you're going to go full circle and have that count as 1. So it'll look like this. Hopefully I'm staying in the frame, but we'll see. Okay, so high plank, straight line, drive those heels back to that back wall, belly button's pulled in, squeezing your glutes, quads are tight, arms straight. You're going to lower down to your elbow, lower down to your elbow, straighten your arm, that's 1. You can then go in the opposite direction, 2, or you can stick with the same side, that's fine too. Get all those done. Try your best to keep a nice straight plank. Don't let your hips pike. Again, your best core work for that. No jump burpees. So with our no jump burpees, it's exactly what it looks like. I watched Annapolis again this past weekend. I love that movie. And they call those up downs, I think. And that's basically what you're doing. So you're going to walk or jump your feet back, chest to deck. So again, it doesn't necessarily need to be a strict push-up, but get that chest down to the floor, back up, jump or stand to full extension. That's 1. So no jump burpees. Total walking lunges. So these are just forward around whatever space you have. Our points of performance for this are nice big step forward. Get that back knee to the ground. That front knee is not going over the toe. You don't need to worry about that if you take a big enough step. So the only time you need to really worry about that toe going forward is if you're taking a really narrow step and leaning forward. It's not necessarily a make or break deal. It just adds stress to your knee, and we're trying to avoid that. Remember, with walking lunges, and for what we're doing here as a metabolic conditioning movement, if you have 2 legs, so unless I have an adaptive athlete that may or may not have 2 legs, use both of them. So don't make just your front leg do all the work. Give yourself a little momentum here. How do you do that? Drive off your back toe. Now, it's equal work. You don't want to just use momentum. You want to split the work evenly. It helps both legs last longer. So, big nice step, and then you're going to drive off that back toe, push yourself forward as you use that front leg to come up to standing. Full extension, 2. And so on and so forth. Do not move forward without taking a lunge step. Do and move in what space you can. If you don't have a lot of space to go way far out and way back, that's fine. Make circles, just move forward with it. Total plank balances. Now, This is different than your high-low planks where you are counting both hands or legs or whatever you want to say, but each side counts as one. So again, you're going to start in a high plank and then attempting to maintain a nice straight plank position. Lift and lower. That's 1. Lift and lower. 2. Lift and lower. 3. As you can see, I'm falling over and all I'm doing is demonstrating. So take your time with it, right? You're getting through it for time, but try to keep your balance, move as quickly as you can without completely losing your form. And then you're ending on dips. So for what we're doing, dips can be off of whatever object that you have that is stable to do dips. So a couch, a dining room chair that isn't going to slide out from under you, a low table, a box, an ottoman, whatever you have. Make sure I'm in the frame for this. But what you're looking for is hands behind you, butt as close as you can, legs straight if you can. Bring yourself a little bit forward. Ideally, you're bending your elbows and getting yourself down so that your elbows close smaller than 90 degrees, and then pushing yourself back up. Bending your knees makes it easier. The higher you go, sort of easier. So what happens is the deeper you bend and the more of a bend you get in your elbows, so the more you have to push yourself up, the harder that will be. So those are your movements. If you are unable to lunge, you can absolutely sub in some air squats. You can change the type of air squats you're doing. For the lateral lunges, I would do wider squats. For the walking lunges, I would do a little bit more narrow squat, if you can. And then what else we got? Planks. If you're unable to do either of the plank balances, let me know and I'll give you individual substitutions for that. And for the dips, a good scaling option, you can go on the ground and kind of do crab dips. It's a shorter range of motion while still getting the pressing that you want to do and the flexibility in your shoulders. So any questions, comments, concerns about that, let me know. Keep up the good work, home track. And as always, if you want to upscale it, throw on a weight vest, grab some dumbbells, kettlebells, a plate, milk jugs, water gallons, heavy textbooks, anything like that that you want to add to it. So have fun. All right, gym track at the 8-minute mark. It's going to be a long one today. All right, gym, I am a stickler about this. So here we are. Be excited that you don't have my eyes boring into you while you do this for me to tell you how you're doing it wrong. These are huge pet peeves of mine. So the first thing that you're starting with today, gym, is its own workout. You have 5 rounds unbroken. It needs to be unbroken for it to count as RX. However, it is not for time, it is for weight. So you'll see my note in there saying if you've never done this before, if it's been a long time, start way lighter than you think you need to. Empty barbell, perfectly acceptable. It's probably going to burn a lot more than you think. What movements do you have here? You have strict press, you have push press, and then you have push jerk. So one, this is driving home to you what are the difference between these 3 movements while also just getting those shoulders warm and exhausting the shoulders. So you can go from the rig if you would like, however you got to get this done. Strict press, front rack position, you're squeezing your glutes, you're squeezing your quads, you're squeezing your core. The only thing that's moving is your arms, straight up overhead. Full extension up top here for this. Push press. Push press now means you get to dip and drive, and that's it. After you dip and extend and squeeze your butt, then your shoulders move. So it's like this. Okay? dip press. Push jerk has 2 knee bending action. Dip, drive, dip is sort of how you want to think of it, right? So your push jerk looks like this. You're receiving the barbell in a mini squat. So this is not the rep scheme, but this is how they will look in one. See if you can notice the difference. So as you're doing it, you know what to make your body do. Okay, strict press, push, push jerk. If you make it through all 5 rounds unbroken, you get an RX score, put what weight you used. We will be seeing this again. The idea is to go up in weight after you're able to get through a round unbroken. If you are unable to do that, if you physically can't eke out whatever your next movement was or whatever round you were in, re-rack it, make note of how many rounds and reps you completed. You'll put your score as scaled, note where you had a rest, note what weight you are, and then what we're going to be working towards is next time this comes around, you will redo this weight, but get through it unbroken. So hopefully that makes sense. That's the goal. Once you've got through that, you do have more shoulder work. You're doing a every minute on the minute for 10 minutes. You've got push jerks and split jerks. So what you just did in that shoulder burner, your push jerk, so this can be from the rig, come back up to standing. After you reset, I'm gonna hit something, that's why I have to move. You've got a split jerk, dip, drive, receive your barbell in a split position, and then come up to standing. Okay, so remember the only difference between a push jerk and a split jerk is what your feet are doing. Push jerk, you're mini squatting. Split jerk, you're going into a lunge. In a perfect world, your lunging feet are about-ish equidistant from your midline, meaning that your back leg isn't the only thing moving. Your front leg is shooting out while your back leg is shooting backwards without falling over. And again, in a perfect jerk world, after you've split, if your feet did do that correctly, that bar is perfectly centered, your body weight is centered, and then what you want to do is move your front foot half a step back, bring your back foot up. That keeps that bar from traveling a lot. But do whatever is safest for depending how you receive it. After that, you've got 2 metcons. Your first metcon, please note your rep scheme of your first couplet or your box jumps. I turned away when I said that, sorry. Or your box jumps. Remember, I'm gonna go out of the frame, but 2 foot takeoff and landing on top of your box, stand up, squeeze your butt. And I don't mean we're here and then it's hard to squeeze your butt like this. Try it, it's not gonna work. Squeeze your butt, bring those hips forward, straight line, look straight across the room, wherever you're at. Good box jumps. You can step back off if you need to. I only recommend rebounding if you don't have any wonky knee things going on, if your Achilles and your calves are, and your arches of your feet are, you know, ready for that kind of impact. There, you can step down, hop back up, that's fine. And then toes to bar, hanging from your rig with your arms straight, both feet. Obviously I can't do it, so don't be like, well, in the video, Ray, you only showed one leg. I'm not hanging. 2 feet touch the rig at the same time between your hands. If you do not have toes to bar, I do not want you doing knee raises. I would like you to scale them to lying toes to hands. Unless knee raises, if you are working on holding your body weight from the rig and that part is difficult for you, then go ahead and do knee raises. Most athletes that I work with, most athletes that I have seen, have no problem holding themselves from the rig and tucking their knees up. That's not where our issue is. A lot of times our issues with getting our feet up to that bar comes from ab strength and comes from flexibility. How are we going to get our feet up to the rig if we're never making our body show the type of flexibility that it takes to get that done? So, lying toes to hands teaches your body that flexibility that it needs to get to that toes to bar position. You are blocked physically by the floor, so it puts all the lengthening and stretching into your posterior chain, right? So your glutes, your hamstrings, your low back. It's a deep pull in your abs. That's what you want to end up feeling for when you go and hop on the rig to get a toes to bar. So what does that look like? Hopefully you can see it. I think I'm okay. Arms straight up overhead to whatever object you're holding. Toes to rig, whatever else that's around where you're doing this that you can grab that isn't going to move. I do not want your feet just going up in the air and touching over your face somewhere. I want you to pull your knees into your chest, and touch your toes to your hands or as close to your hands as possible. Okay, that's what we're working on to get our toes to bar. So, what am I grabbing? I have nothing to grab. So, arms straight, legs start straight, nice big deep pull, and touch. I can feel it in my back, so you're gonna feel it in your back. You're gonna feel a deep pull on your abs as well. So those are that. Then you're immediately going into your next couplet. Note the rep scheme for that. You then have hang power snatches. So light barbell. You need to deadlift that bar up, get into as big or as small of a hang as you need to. Remember, when we're hang snatching, those hips go back, bar stays in contact with your legs. So what that doesn't look like is this. Okay, that's not our hang. Hips back here, jump, and up. 2. Hang on to that bar for as long as you can. If and when you need to break after it's down on the ground, you have to deadlift it up before you can continue. And wall balls. So standard wall ball weight and height for this. For your wall balls, I'm gonna grab one. Leaving the frame. This is a small one, but please remember that that ball will be starting on the ground. Your first rep is not this. 1, full extension, front rack position, hips open, then squat, then toss. Hit your target line, 10 feet for the fellas, 9 feet for the gals. Full squat every time. We want good strong glutes and legs. We don't do that by not squatting. That whole entire double couplet set is for time. Make it through that, and then you've got a 16-minute AMRAP, double dumbbell box step overs. Okay, get yourself over your box. You can go lateral if you want. I kind of actually find those easier. Excuse me, but do what you have to do. Then you have your double presses. So again, with the double press, dumbbells are in your hands. You go down to the ground, back into a burpee, back up to standing. And then just depending on how tired you are and your personal strength level, you can either keep those dumbbells outside as you swing them up overhead, or as you stand up, you can widen your feet and do a double dumbbell kettlebell swing. But that entire movement from the ground up overhead is one. That's your one double press and then double unders. So that's that gym. Have fun with it. Keep up the good work. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Any questions, comments, concerns, as always, let me know. Rock your shirts. Tag me. Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to YouTube. Keep watching. Go ahead and follow. Share. You are always free to share anything. I would appreciate credit for any, workouts or anything that you share, but the more the merrier. So grab a friend, invite them in, take them to your gym, invite them on post, meet up at Crunch, check out the Academy. I'm sure Jensen would love to see you guys if you're in Cincinnati. So anyways, get fit, get after it. Do one thing today to make you better. One thing. And remember, it's only got to be a 1% difference. 1% every single day adds up. So whatever that one thing is, do it. Get after it. Get better. Get fit. Attack with fire, Dracarys.